Just going to start this live stream. If you've seen the title, it's technically not bad news about me. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's not clickbait or nothing. But I want to start trying to do like a daily news update. The real news, the actual news, the stuff that the for profit news ain't going to cover because it's a daily occurrence here in the good old US of A. So let's start hitting some headlines, all right? 13 million kids are food insecure in America. Your neighbors. Go outside, walk around. One out of every five houses you see, one out of every five apartments you see, one out of every five families you know, one of them kids or that family of kids doesn't know where their next meal is coming from. That should be breaking news every night. Wouldn't you think here in America? Aren't we the wealthiest country in the world? Everybody talks about, oh, we got our freedom. Freedom to what? Starve? Starve our children? I don't know why this isn't top headlines every night. I understand there's car accidents, murders, there's, you know, robberies. Not the correct robberies that they're talking about. They're talking about the robbery down the street of some guy trying to steal something so he can get money to feed his starving kids. We're not talking about the wage theft robberies that count for more total amount of money than any other robbery, burglary, anything else in the United States. Wage theft tops it all. Look it up. I don't have those stats with me. I can bring them next time. Um, but you would figure if one out of every five kids is starving in our communities, shouldn't the news be talking about that? And I'm going to do it until something starts to change. So, welcome. This is going to be a small, short live stream. Uh, Probably not that big. I can't imagine this is very popular. I'm not going to do if it bleeds, it leads. I just want to talk about the real stuff that's affecting each and every one of our communities. You might be that family. I know I've been that family many a times. Right before the first of the month, we are that family. So let's see. The leading killer, I just found this out and I did not believe this stat because I was hoping as a country we had progressed a little bit further. And this one was really shocking. I had to look it up and it turns out, yeah, it's legit. The leading killer of people under 50 years old in America, opioid overdose. Um, I watched a interview with a great YouTuber. Go check out his channel. He does prison, lockup, criminal stories. His channel is Lockdown 23 and 1. Check him out. He did a great interview with J Dub, or I apologize, I forget the dude's name, and he was talking about the opioid epidemic here in America, and he was also talking about uh, something he's trying to introduce to the medical community called cold shock resuscitation, which I think this is a vital thing because this is a leading killer among people under 50, that everybody understands this. If you can't get your hands on Narcan to help save a life, you can throw ice on them and that will restart their heart, it will shock them uh, alive for a moment. So just know that cold shock resuscitation, get a big barrel of ice, as much ice as you can, throw them in a cold bath, and this is this technique is looking to be introduced to, I forget the medical association, to try to get it verified and validated as a possible option that anybody can help uh, access. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, 61% of Americans live in paycheck to paycheck. That means you can't cover a bill until the next paycheck. I'm very familiar with that. And apparently 61% of my neighbors, my fellow people in our communities, are very familiar with that too. And that's going to also bring me to some of the stories that I want to talk about outside of my headlines. These headlines I'm going to hit every night, every time I do a live stream. Prices for goods hit a 50-year high in 2022. Oh, and by the way, corporate profits have also hit record high. And I want you to remember there are no coincidences. So when they tell you inflation is because of some $600 check 4 years ago, why is inflation still going up? Why are the prices still going up? Why? Nobody's getting those checks anymore. By the way, all those people that hate people for those $600 checks, I understand why you're angry. All those people who got $600 checks, they've retired now. They're living in the lap of luxury now from those $600 checks. Give me a fucking break. Um, all right. 74% of our neighbors are stressed out about living expenses. You know what that means? A living expense? What it costs for you to live. 74%. That's 3 out of 4 people. The housing crisis still rages on here in America. It has now become unaffordable to rent for over 50% of Americans, and there are 28 empty homes. 28 empty homes for every one person experiencing homelessness. Again, I don't know why the news isn't covering this. You'd imagine with that kind of solution, we got 28 homes to every single homeless person. I feel like we could solve that problem, right? Is the math not mathing on that one? All right. And for those of you who live in a place where maybe you're making minimum wage, I just want to break this down because this is very important so people understand how unaffordable rent is. If you're making $15 an hour, that's the minimum wage here in Massachusetts, without taxes taken out, okay? We're just going to pretend taxes don't exist in this world. That's the funny thing about people who go 15 is already too much. And I go, you understand what 15 is with taxes taken out, and if healthcare is taken out, you're making around $5 an hour. At least that's what I make after healthcare taxes are taken out. But if you're making 15 an hour, that a year is 28,000. They say spend a 30-year rent on or a 30-year pay on rent. That would be $800 a month. Okay, so if you're making 15 an hour, a year 28,000, a third of that salary per month on rent should be $800. Here in Massachusetts, the median rent for a one bedroom is $24.95. This is why people can't survive. And just remember, if the minimum wage goes up, your wages go up. Just like when unions are in town, and this is what we're going to get to. I want to talk a little Joe Biden. I don't know why every time my fingers try to type in Joe Biden, maybe I'm just getting old, fat. Um, but I keep typing in Joe Budden, and Buden. And in case you don't know, Joe Budden is a black morning personality, or maybe he used to be. I don't know what he's doing now. I know he's got some stuff on YouTube. So everything that I'm typing in about Joe Biden breaking up a rail strike or something, it's Joe Budden breaks up a rail strike, and Google just gives me a mess back. I wish we could get rid of Google. Let me tell you that. Oh, what's up, Luigi? Let me pause for a second. I gotta say what's up to Luigi, because this dude, go follow him. Now, I don't speak, I forget, you're from Brazil, so it's Portuguese. We're like the only family in my neighborhood that doesn't speak Portuguese. By the way, I try to keep convincing my daughter to learn it because these young girls keep coming into her class, these new girls, and they only speak Portuguese. So, like my daughter's friend is a translator. She speaks both. So when I call her mother, there's like two phones in the house. She picks up the phone and I tell the mom stuff, and then her daughter says it in Portuguese, and I've been trying to talk back, and I know a little bit of Spanish, and I just realized, oh my God, Spanish is so different. When I was trying to look up, I was trying to speak to her in Spanish on the phone, and then her daughter kept like retranslating, and I was like, no, I got it, let me say this. So I'd say some stuff in Spanish, and then once I got off the phone, because she kept not answering me, and she'd be like, yes, yeah, and you could tell it was confusing. There was some lost in translation thing going on, right? So Luigi, as soon as I get off the phone, I'm like, yo, let me get on I have a Google Translate, because when I was running for mayor, I would use Google Translate to talk to anybody who spoke Portuguese. And trust me, there's a lot of people around here that do, that like just as their only language. So, anyways, so I'll get off, and I forget what I was looking up. And I was trying to remember. Oh, I was trying to look up today or tomorrow. You probably know what it is, but it is not. Um, oh shoot! Listen. I've been sick all week, so forgive me. And I was not planning on telling the story. I was looking up. something something today or tomorrow. What is it in Spanish? Oh my God. Anyways, and it's two totally different words, and like the whole language, it almost reminds me of French a little bit. And I don't speak French, but and I only speak a little bit of un pequeño Spanish. But let me tell you, man, it was funny because I really thought I was able to communicate with her, and this lady was like, "Oh, this poor son of a bitch. He like thinks these languages are the same." Ignorant white dude. But I tried. Listen, and I'm still trying, but I'm old and my brain is worn down. Um, I'm sorry. Oh, so I don't know how I got into that, but what I want to say is if you're watching this later or now, go follow Luigi. That's why I was getting into it because I don't speak Portuguese, but his channel is amazing. I didn't realize you got like 3,000 videos, and I was translating a lot of the comments so I could see what people were reacting to, only because I couldn't follow along. And um, and some people really like I forget what GTA it was. He plays Grand Theft Auto and he games on his thing. And people were saying like you hacked the system, you couldn't believe what you were doing. So I was so fascinated to like try to be able to follow along. At some point I'll be able to understand more. It's just listen, when you get into those real Spanish speaking countries, I'm telling you man, they speak so fast that if you're not really good with it, you pick up like two words. My grandmother's from Spain. So if she spoke something, you're just like, I don't know. Say it in English. All right. I forget where I was. It's so good to for you to stop by, Luigi. And listen, man. I think my friend AB is gonna come on later this week. I don't know when, but so just hit that little bell subscribe thing, and and uh and at some point me and her I got a new thumbnail and I got some stuff I want to bring up with her, some fascinating stuff with hers. When we worked together and people would come in, they would be new hires. Before she'd ask them anything, she would ask them, what's your astrological sign? And she's all into that and everything, but it was so funny because these people would be like, what? And then they would tell her, and she'd be like, all right, you be good with this person, you be good with them, you might have some conflict over here, and let me just say, like, and she would just break down the whole personality of it. I thought it was hilarious because I was like, that's so weird, and you don't know if that's true or not. Um, so I wanted to talk about all that and some other weird things in the hiring, interviewing process that are going on today. But let me get back to these headlines real quick because I promised myself, just so you guys know, if you're just tuning in or if you're watching this back later, why I'm hitting these headlines and why they're going to be the same every night is because this is a crisis in America that I watch recaps on the nightly news. People talking about Trump, people talking about Biden, people talking about, what's happening down the street, but not the correct things like who got robbed, who got shot, what got stolen, car accident. Maybe there's a feel good story of some kid working to pay off a student debt for his school lunch, which is just fucking unfathomable. That here in America, we got kids working off to pay other kids' debt for their lunches off. That's disgusting. I was on Twitter. I forget again. I've been sick, so I don't remember if it's tomorrow or today. Everything's kind of been a blur. Um, and this one dude, so one account said, we should just have millionaires and billionaires be paying their fair share, and that will help the homeless and the people going hungry epidemic here in America. And of course, I retweeted it. And I said, like, that's a no-brainer. The people who have the billionaires who couldn't spend, I forget what it was. It was like $1 million every day for whatever it is, 1,000 years. Um, like think about that. Nobody could. These motherfuckers ain't gonna live to 100. With all the steroids and facelifts and hair implants they get, but they would have to spend what, a billionaire, $1 million no. Oh, so that's what it was, because that would be a year. No, $1 million a day. I think it was 400 years or something like that. It was some crazy stat. I'm sure you could look it up. Um, So who would have a problem with them contributing to kids who don't know where their next meal is coming from? And this one dude started chirping off about it, saying something about a nincompoop. He was like trying to be a playful argument. But I know this dude claims on his website, like he says like Jesus is king, all that shit. I'm like, bro, for being a Christian, you must not understand who Jesus was. Jesus was a dude who didn't make anybody pay copays, who said the way you treat children is how you're going to be judged. Any motherfucker that uh, acts a fool around kids or doesn't help them or show them anything, I ain't got time for you. Um, and mind you, Jesus is the one that fed a bunch of people. I mean, I could go into many, many stories about what Christ did. Jesus didn't carry cash. He paid his taxes. But this dude was chirping off about it. And it's sad that we have people who still think like this, and they must not understand the reality or the impact of what is happening daily right around them. You know, these are the houses that surround you. These are your neighbors. These are your family. These are our communities. And so I made it a point that I want to start talking some news, but I also want to start hitting these headlines every time I live stream. I'd like to try to live stream 5 times a week, um, depending, you know, but it's just so important. And I don't know about other countries. I'm sure there are just even worse crises, maybe similar. Maybe I know when I looked up the opioid stats, America takes the cake. I couldn't believe that. I was like, damn, still America. Big pharma pumping opioids into our communities, buying off doctors, and we're here 23 years later, 24 years later, and it's still, we're just the top spot in the world, and it's a leading death for people under 50. Um, so, anyways, one solution to all this, because I will give you solutions, and we will talk solutions, is to unionize. Um, the labor movement and unionization effort continues. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Uh, and this is a way for workers to gain solidarity. In case you don't know what a union is, it's you and your coworkers joining together in a union. There's no outside party. I've started a union at my work. It is me and other people voting to say we want to come together to make our bosses, to make our employers meet our demands. Maybe there are unsafe conditions. We are understaffed. We are underpaid. We are overworked. And we want to fight against that. It's the number one reason. If you ever want to know what scares millionaires or billionaires, it's the number one reason that they have trouble sleeping at night. This is why they talk shit about unions. This is why they fight them tooth and nail. It's why Elon Musk right now is trying so hard to dismantle every kind of labor board in the government. He's taking them to court. He's going all out, and we'll actually jump into that in a second because the Nordic countries are fighting back against Mr. Musk and his anti-union, union busting tactics. And then if you don't know about the EU, they don't fuck around when it comes to labor movements and workers' rights. If you didn't see the photos and videos of the French revolt for all the unions sticking together, and that's the thing, they have class solidarity. So what that means is like unions out here, they kind of stick to each other, and that's on full display right now. And the unions in Europe, they cross boundaries. So if somebody fucks with one union, the trash guys, the trash union will stop collecting trash. If they're fucking with the electrical union, the trash guys say, you know what, we're done picking up your trash. And that is a class solidarity thing. It's across all industries. It's much more powerful than what we have here in America, which is more of an industrial union. There's some cross solidarity, but again, the rugged capitalism has even seeped into our union working. So my last point before I jump into some of these news stories is everybody remember this one. Write this down. When the punishment is a fine, it is not illegal for the wealthy. Remember that. Because if it's a fine and you're a billionaire, money doesn't even exist to you. You couldn't spend that money in 20 lifetimes. So if it's a fine, it ain't against the law for you. Remember that. That's important to understand in the class struggle and the class war we are involved in right now. Let's get into some news. All right, so in case you guys didn't know, Sean Fain is the UAW chief of the union. The UAW is United Auto Workers. Sean Fain has made some news here in America over the past few months. He helps solidify a contract. I think they've ratified it for the auto workers, which has uh, gone across all industries, the ripple effect right away after they went on strike, and or did they go on strike or did they avoid a strike? I forget. But Sean Fain helped get a better contract for union workers. I forget if it was a 25% raise or something like that. It was a lot of money. And the three major non-union car companies within months gave all their workers almost a similar raise just because of the fear of the threat for their workers to unionize. Because once workers see, like, oh, wow, a union is that powerful, they can get raises that are above inflation. They're actual real money raises. They're not negative money raises. Uh, People pay attention and they realize, oh, that's the ticket to get more money. So Tesla also, this is why they fear unions, because Elon Musk didn't become a billionaire because of hard work. Nobody works hard enough to make $1 billion because he exploits people. And Sean Fain has made some good news due to all of that. He's kind of been a popular face of the union movement lately. But I take some issue with this motherfucker because I gotta stop swearing. I keep forgetting this is live. I like to swear and then bleep it or just chip it. Um, but really, he is an MFer because he's going on to endorse Joe Biden. Now, he's going to explain a little bit. I'll play a little bit of this clip. He was on Face the Nation.
I think it'll be less. I truly believe we're going to do the same thing we did during our contract campaign, during our strike. You know, when we said endorsements will be earned, we meant it. And we're going to deal with facts and truth. And I believe the overwhelming majority of UAW members and working class people, when the facts and the truth are put in front of them, will support Joe Biden for president. That's why we made this decision.
Wrong.
You know, look, when you look at these two candidates,
What?
what? Joe Biden has a history
of what?
Of serving others.
Really?
And serving the working class and fighting.
Let's pause there, you jerk. Biden doesn't have a history of serving others and serving the working class. I'm not going to go deep into his history, but if you look back into it with the drug war or anything with civil rights, as opposed to locking people up, Joe Biden ain't a good dude. I unfortunately think too many people believe in America to vote for the lesser of two evils. Now, me and my oldest daughter, she really pushed me to vote, and I told her I don't believe in that. I don't believe in a lesser of two evils. I say if you got two evils, you got evil. Um, so it's really frustrating to hear him say that because Biden campaigned on eliminating student debt under $20,000. He hasn't done it. Biden campaigned on decriminalizing cannabis. He hasn't done it. His expungement thing that he did to cover for something else that was going on was BS. And I'm not going to go into that right now. I just want to hit off some of these bullet points. But also Biden, who claims to be for the working class. Well, number one, if you're for the working class, you know that the working class communities are affected by uh, the criminal laws more than upper class communities. Decriminalizing cannabis, no brainer. Student loan debt, that's working class people. Rich people don't take on debt to go to school. They can pay for it. And he's done nothing to help us in those regards. But more importantly, and when I remember earlier in the live, I was talking about class solidarity amongst unions, the whole class, cross industrial or industrial unionization. I forget. There's more technical terms. I got a book. My bookcase is right behind here. I got a book all about class Crass Struggle Unionism. I think that's the book by Joe Burns. You could look it up. It's a good book. And he breaks it down. All this, how American unionism has branched off into different sects and there's different philosophies behind it. I believe in the philosophy of the class struggle unionism, which is what the book is about. And that means everybody supports each other when there's any kind of mishmash going on. When the workers, that's the union motto. An injury to one is an injury to all. And it's weird and sad that here in America, that only means within your own industry. So if they hurt one of us, then the industry is hurt. But really, Joe Biden, if you don't remember, the rail strike that didn't happen. I forget how many years ago. Hold on, let me check my notes. Let me check my notes. Okay. Why Union Joe chose to make it illegal for rail workers to strike. When was this? Oh man. When was this? There isn't gonna be a date, is there? Mama, why aren't you gonna give me a date? Mm-mm-mm. Maybe I could just look at a date on the 2022, December 2022. Sorry, that took so long. I forget this is live. I do so much recorded stuff. I gotta get used to live. I promise this live will get so much better as the channel gets bigger, which is bound to happen. All right, so Joe Biden. We're going to talk about how he's not for the working class. And just in case you're wondering, Rob, am I in the working class? Well, there's a simple solution to figure this out. There's a simple math equation that you could do to figure out if you're a part of the working class. Because a lot of people I meet don't think they are. They really don't. They're convinced that they're like um, passive income class, which is wealthy. So the way to figure out is if you're working class is if you wake up and go to work every day, you're working class. Simple as that. So you can play at home. Figure it out on yourself, on your own. You might need some scrap paper, take some notes. But Joe Biden, there was a rail strike that was going to go on. The biggest part of this rail strike and why the rail union wanted to strike was because they wanted guaranteed paid sick leave, which makes sense. If Joe Biden knows how important they were and was willing to not let interstate commerce shut down because it was that vital to the nation, you would think guaranteed sick leave was just the best thing for these workers. So if they got sick, they didn't get sicker by being forced to work. They could take time off. The companies could hire more people. There's so many things into it, and I can go into more. We'll talk more union stuff, but I just want to point out why Joe Biden is an asshat, and he's not for the working people, and he's making the United Auto Workers chief union leader, Sean Fain, look like a moron. So Joe Biden signed legislation to make it illegal for rail workers to strike. He shut down their strike, which is one of the most powerful tools a union has in its arsenal, and it's usually a last resort. It's a desperate last ditch effort because you're not going to work. So that affects a lot of people. You don't have money, no money for rent, you might lose hours for healthcare. So many repercussions for that. The biggest one is money, but it's a necessary thing to do if you're fighting for something like guaranteed paid sick leave, which you would think if our rail workers are so vital, Joe Biden, because that's what you said. You said the interstate commerce is too vital to our country. We can't shut it down. But you'll let them continue on without paid sick time and potentially get shut down like we had in East Palestine, Ohio. I think it was only months later where there was a rail crash, and this was part of what the union said. Here's what we were striking for. You got overworked guys, understaffing. We got chunky rails, whatever they call messed up rails. I'm assuming they call them chunky, and and you have these accidents. And I forget how many train crashes there are in the U.S., but it's despicable. So the United Auto Workers, Sean Fain, gave Trump a vouch. I mean, gave Biden. Trump and Biden are basically the same person. They're all working for the billionaire class. Um, but Sean Fain gave Biden the old AOK, and I think that's dubious. Is it dubious? I gotta look that up. We're gonna look up dubious real quick. Dubious. Hesitating a doubt not to be relied on suspect. I didn't want to say you're suspect. Actually, saying you're suspect's pretty good. The kids understand that. Is that what sus means? No, no, no. Sus means suspicious. I'm gonna tell my kids that sus means suspect. And so Sean Fain's acting dubious, man. This dude is he's vouching for Biden, saying he's facts and all this bullshit, which he's not. I'm sorry to say. Biden's a liar, just like all the other politics out there. Um, they ain't here for the working people. They're here for their corporate coffers, the people who are paying them to be able to run. But the more important thing, I think, with this election, if it's going to be Trump and Biden, is irregardless of what you think, whatever side you're on, hopefully you're on the working class side. That's the most important. But my daughter asked me, like, who what is this an election year? Who do you think is going to be running? So I told her that. She said, really? Again? She said, that's boring. I said, it's worse than boring. I said, I think both these guys are older than your grandma. I said, could you imagine that? You know how old your grandma is. Like, imagine her running a country. That's terrifying. And she said, well, do we ever have any young presidents? I said, yeah. We've never had this many old presidents. I mean, I think of JFK, what was he, 35? Obama was 40, I believe. Um, it's just hard to understand dudes that are, what, 70, 7,800 years old? I don't know. Are they vampires? They don't look good. Doused with makeup all the time. Not looking healthy. Let's put it like that. And these guys are supposed to be in charge of uh, an economy in a country that has so far away from what they knew 172 years ago when they were growing up. I mean, we are way past post Civil War era, and these guys are obviously relics from it. Um, so, if you've seen this news about Sean Fain vouching for Biden, and I really want to what I really want to go into is how many right wing people here in America are freaking out about Taylor Swift potentially vouching for Biden, giving her the old "A-OK, Joe," which would just be that's a death sentence for so many working class people. But again, it's another billionaire supporting another millionaire. That's the class struggle, folks. Um, but I think I'm going to wait till a different live stream to talk about the MAGA and the Swifties going to war and how funny it's been. If you haven't followed along with this, oh my God. What they're making what these right wing Fox News folks are making Taylor Swift out to be. Uh, I've heard her called a witch, satanic dance moves. I mean, it's very Elvis-esque. Um, it's kind of hilarious how when they need to demonize someone. But I guarantee you, if she turned around and was like wearing a MAGA hat one day, she'd be, what's that saint? Who's that lady? Old Ethel? No, no, no. Mother Teresa. Old Ethel. All right, so real quick, I want to talk about Elon Musk's new enemy. If you haven't paid attention to this, and I mentioned this earlier, which I'm finally wrapping around to, that's why it's better when I got a co-host, because I get sidetracked real easy, folks. And so earlier I was talking about if you don't pay attention to EU union stuff, which I just started discovering how the EU rolls over the past 4 or 5 years. Man, do I have respect for them. Mostly, I followed a couple of people who lived in France, who were expats living in France, and they got caught up in some of the union riots and melee that the union were causing. And just so you don't know, what caused all this is so the French state, Macron and his cronies, were trying to raise the retirement age, 62 to 64 or something. And not only were the people about to retire, imagine being 62 and they're like, nah, 2 more years. And you're like, I was just about to retire. Not only were they pissed, but every union decided to show up and show out. So just Google these videos. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it in the world. The sewer guys were coming up and spraying sewage all over the state houses and Capitol. The trash guys stopped collecting trash. The electricians union shut off the power to all the rich people's homes. Brilliant. I mean, you want to talk about a Fight Club style of movement, revolution. These unions in Europe and in France have the most salute to you guys because these dudes do it correct. Remember, if anybody remembers the movie Fight Club, in Fight Club, I think it's towards the end, and he's giving that speech, and he's like, we are everywhere. We are all around you. We take out your trash. We are your police people. We are your chefs, your grocers, your dog walkers. I don't know what he's. I gotta watch Fight Club again. My youngest brother loved that movie. Uh, Alex, if you happen to see this, man, I love you. I haven't talked to you in almost a decade, probably going on, and I hope you're all right, man. But yeah, my youngest brother loved uh, that movie, and Whenever I see that kind of class solidarity unionism, where like every union will show up for one union that's being screwed over, reminds me of that Fight Club thing. It's like a real threat. And this is why billionaires and the wealthy class fear the working class people. Fear us organizing, come together. You want to scare rich people? You want to take your country back? Organize. I could go into more about how to do that. In fact, if you listen to my podcast, I started a series. I think I'm 4 episodes in about how to unionize. It's real basic. I just walk you through it for the people on iTunes. Anyways, so the French workers, union workers, showed up and showed out to support them not raising the retirement age. And if you don't know why, like, these Nordic EU countries are always rated some of the happiest in the world, well, not only are they biggest welfare countries, means they have big welfare social nets, and yes, they may have high taxes, but who cares when your taxes are high if you don't have to pay for healthcare? Your housing is moderated, your pay is still good. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many benefits to that. They're not funding just bombs and bailouts, like here in America. But the reason a lot of those Nordic countries are so happy is because 70% of the population in Sweden, just Sweden alone, is unionized. That means they got the best wages they can. That's what they always fight for. That's what unions are there for. And these Nordic workers aren't happy with Elon Musk. In fact, Musk has been on a rampage against the Swedish and Danish and I forget who else. All those Nordic countries. He's trying to anti-union busting effort. I guess his company, their official stance, Tesla, again, official stance in I think I read this somewhere. It's in one of these articles. Don't make me find it. Don't make me find. I'm not gonna find it right now, but I guarantee you. So Tesla says they do not do like bargaining agreements. Bargaining agreement is just when a union comes to the table, you bargain for what you want. Tesla says we ain't gonna do it. And the Swedish are like, we're a 70% unionized country, man. You're going to do it. We're going to unionize and you're going to come meet us at the table. And Elon Musk is like, I'm a billionaire. I don't care what you want. I play by my own rules. Remember what I said at the beginning? If the punishment is a fine, then it's not illegal for the wealthy. So I would assume it's just fines if he union busts. Here in America, it's just fines. I don't think they give jail time in Europe, so it's probably just fines for every violation of union busting he finds. Um, so Elon Musk is like, whatever. And what's happening now is the really fascinating thing. So mechanics servicing Teslas in Sweden started striking in October. Then they were joined by the dock workers and colleagues in car dealerships. Now, hold on. Now it's starting to arrive from across Nordic countries. So it looks like if Tesla doesn't come to sign a collective agreement on wages and working conditions, it threatens that the strike will go on until a deal is reached. Now, hold on, because I gotta get. Oh, I should have marked this. Okay, so now more unions. The Norwegian union Fellsforbundet. I think that sounds like a Mike Myers word. Remember Wayne's World? Fellsforbundet. Oh no! What's it? Shrek. That's what I meant. This sounds like a Shrek word. That it would boycott Teslas passing through the Norwegian harbors. Um, the Finnish transport. Remember, this is just in Sweden. Now Norway's jumped in and Finland's jumped in. Finnish Transport Union joined in, saying it will block Teslas coming through Finnish harbors if no deal was reached. And now it's a growing issue for Tesla in Germany, where they have a gigafactory, stupid name, in Berlin. And they're all starting to sign up for unions there. Now, one of the metal bosses for IG Metall, I'm guessing that's a metal union, said you need to be careful. The rules of the game are different here. Ooh, popping off shots. I love that. Because Elon Musk, he's used to America where it's like pay to play. He's like, yeah, I'll break the law. Here in my town, he union busted. He fired a guy that was working at his dealership. He was a mechanic there. And this guy just wanted, I forget if it was air conditioning in the summer. I think that's what it was. I don't think it was heat in the winter. But it was just AC in the summer. He's working in a garage, mechanics, hot, whatever. Cars are on fire all the time. Imagine sweltering in there. And he fired him for trying to start unionizing the place down there. In fact, I want to go down and protest and hand out union stickers. Um, and when I say Elon Musk fired him, I exactly mean that. Like Elon Musk has no tolerance for this. So that's top-down management. Okay? That's not like some mid-level manager being like, "Oh, we got to get rid of him. No union stuff." That's like Elon Musk is like, "I'll fire all of you." You seen what he did to Twitter? He fired hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and they're still fighting for a severance package that they were legally owed. And he's a billionaire, so he's like, "What are you gonna do? Take me to court? I got money until the courts don't exist anymore." He's got money until we have those. What are those trials called where they had him in the Dark Knight Rises? My favorite trials ever. Trial by fire, trial by ordeal, trial by. Now I gotta watch Dark Knight. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Um, so Elon Musk just thinks like, oh, I could just screw these people around, and what they don't realize is he started just getting lashed back in Sweden from workers that wanted a collective bargain. They wanted to come to the table and say, hey, we need better pay, conditions, better whatever it is, more staffing. Started like that. Then you heard it went to, what was it, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Berlin. It is just like he doesn't understand. He's messing with the wrong countries when it comes to union busting. Um, yeah, the Danish industry you do, Dansk Metal. Oh, I love. I'm just gonna pause here because I've looked into moving to Daneland, Denmark forever. This, I just want to go there. I want to live there. Their language is so cool because it's got words like Dansk, Dansk. And I took a bunch of stuff on Duolingo for to speak Dane, mostly because I like how much they invaded. They were the OG invaders. They invaded England before England could colonize everyone. They were like, "We're gonna make you our bitches," um, which was just hardcore because they did it in rowboats. Like think about those North Atlantic, what's that sea? English Channel, North English Channel, going through that in rowboats and like rabbit skins. Who did that? They were the ones that did that. That's some cold, icy water, man. You don't want to fall off that boat in December. Uh-uh. And these dudes were doing it and then hitting land and raiding. It was animals. That's why they call them Vikings. Um, anyways, and if you want a great show on that, watch The Last Kingdom on Netflix. I promise you, you'll love it. And if you don't, we probably wouldn't be friends. I'm just kidding. I like people who have way different tastes than I do. So I wanted to touch base with the Elon Musk thing. Get unionized or get out. Scandinavian labor elevates fight with Tesla's Elon Musk. Oof. The mistake Tesla made was challenging the collective agreements that set sector-specific minimum wages in Sweden, a country where 70% of the population is unionized. All right, I'm slowing down again. I told you, I'm sorry. Oh, France 24 reported last week that garbage is piling up outside Tesla centers as refuse collectors refuse to pick it up. Do they really call trash collectors refuse collectors? And then in this sentence, that's no joke. Let me show you the sentence. Where's the sentence? Hold on. Oh, right here. Look at how funny that is. It says refuse. Garbage is piling up outside Tesla centers as refuse collectors refuse to pick it up. And it's both spelled the same. Refuse collect. It wouldn't be refuse collectors, would it? Am I just reading it wrong? It's got to be refuse. Refuse collectors? Refuse? Now I feel like I'm high. Um, And cleaning staff are also declining to work in Tesla showrooms. I cannot get enough of this story, said Sarah Anderson of the U.S. Economic Justice think tank Institute for Policy Studies last week. Whew. Yo, Elon Musk picked a fight with a wasp den. Do wasps have den? Ant den? Bear den? I don't know. What has a den? Foxes. Anyways, he didn't pick a fight with a fox den. He picked a fight with a wasp hive because these people are going to come out swinging on this dude. So trash is piling up outside of Tesla places. The workers are refusing to come in and clean the showrooms. I hope they shut his ish down. Swedish workers have the full support, president of the Finnish union. So that's what I mean. This is a great. Oh man, Pelle Dragsted, a member of Danish Parliament and a democratic socialist, power to the people, posted on social media telling Musk to accept the lesson he's been given since October: get unionized or get out. Oof. In the Nordics, we love our unions because they make our lives so much better, said Dragsted. Here in Denmark, our unions have secured a decent living wage for all workers, a work week of 37 hours, the right to at least 5 weeks of vacation, paid sick leave, and the right to 1 year of parental leave. So, dear Elon, respect your workers. They're coming for a fight. God damn, I want to move to the EU and pick it with these people. They know how to do it. Um, So, and just so we could take away a little bit of learning from today's lesson, news, not lesson. Let's bring it back. This is what you call class solidarity. This is class solidarity unionism, class struggle unionism. It's when the working class as a whole, not by separate industries. That's what we see here. Sean Fain, who we talked about earlier, he is the United Auto Workers Labor Chief, or the chief of the union. He If he said an injury to one is an injury to all, he'd be a liar. Because when Biden shut down the rail strike, Sean Fain didn't bring that up in his support of Biden. And you just can't ignore that. That's a fact. And Sean Fain, in the clip I played earlier, said Biden's about the facts. I wonder if Sean Fain is. Or is he just omitting some facts? Because a union's supposed to be there for everyone, right? That's the whole injury to one is an injury to all thing. We rep for everybody. We come hard for all our comrades. Um, and Sean Fain, dude's a liar. And he is about segregated industrial unionizing. So he represents his auto workers, and maybe he'll lend some support. Like they were asking him, do you think the Teamsters will support Biden? He was like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And the thing is like, that's not really class solidarity. They're still out for. So I get it when some people are like, unions are corrupt too. Yeah, there is some corruption. Everything in America is corrupt. Wake the fuck up. Act like a big boy. We know this. But still, it's about the bottom line here. The bottom line is the facts are that unions boost wages. They fight for things like I don't know if you're into child labor or working 7 days a week, but unions helped eradicate those things. Unions did. So, minus the corruption, what we see is like this rugged individualism, unionism in America. The lesson from this news is that in the Nordic countries, in the UE, United, what is it? European Union? EU. Have I been saying UE? Man, EU, right? European Union. I knew that. Why was I saying UE? I was thinking United Arab Emirates. That's UAE. And I was talking about the United Auto Workers. That's UAW. I think there's too many letters tonight. Um, Anyways, what they have in the EU is a class solidarity unionism. That means everybody from the working class, just like in this Tesla fight, it started with just the workers at the Tesla in Sweden. And then the cleaning crews heard about it. And that union said, we ain't coming to clean no more. And then the trash people heard about it. They said, our union ain't going to pick up your trash anymore. If you're messing with them, an injury to one is an injury to all. So all the unions, you heard the harbors outside of Finland and Norway said, we're going to block, you're not going to be bringing cars in here. We're going to block them in our harbors if you're going to mess with that union in Sweden. That is true class solidarity. That is every worker looking out for others. And that's how they get shit done. Watch. Elon Musk is going to lose this battle. He can't win. Billions of dollars. And this is why I was saying earlier, the only thing that keeps billionaires up at night is the threat of unionization. Us organizing together to form solidarity amongst each other terrifies them. Why? Because when we are all working together, when we are fighting for something together, his money is no good. He can try to pay private police or pay off politicians to make laws like Biden did, make a rail strike illegal. Here in Massachusetts, Newton teachers are going on strike, solidarity to you guys. And guess what? In Newton, Massachusetts, it's illegal for teachers to go on strike. So trust me, these billionaires will pay off politicians to rewrite the laws to make it illegal for you and I to fight for better. But they fear what the Newton teachers are doing. They're going on strike anyways. They're saying, no, 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 we need certain conditions met, or what good are we to help the youth? And you would think that would be our number one priority, right? Supplying the teachers with whatever they need to prepare our kids for the future that we would like to see, that we want for them. But no, they made it illegal for these teachers to strike. And I believe it's in Newton. So solidarity with my union striking teachers, much support. I would love to get one of them on. Maybe that's what I should reach out to, see if they want to talk about what's going on. Because again, I don't know if the local news covers this stuff, which they should. Um, so yeah, the billionaires, Bezos, Musk, Gates, they're all terrified. What's Tim Apple, whatever his fucking name is? They're terrified of their people unionizing. That's why they're fighting us. That's why they'll spend millions, millions a year. Okay? Starbucks spent 14 million the other year to pay lawyers to union bust when they could have just spent that 14 million on what the employees were asking for. It's insane. Or maybe it was Amazon. No, I think Amazon spent more. But they'll spend all that money instead of giving it to the workers to break up the workers. Why? Well, if unions didn't work, do you think they'd put any time and effort into this? I'm going to let you figure that one out on your own. We'll pick up with that one tomorrow night. I'm feeling a little bit better. I know I've been doing this for a little while. I'm definitely worn down, but I'm hoping tomorrow night I'll be a little more on top of the game, and maybe I'll bring my friend AB with me, and we'll tackle. That's the other thing. So I'll answer that question that I asked you. If billionaires and millionaires didn't think unions did anything, if they didn't think they worked, if they didn't think they got uh, workers better wages, paid sick time, better conditions, better staffing, better everything, better vacation, why would they spend that much money to break it up? And also Trump, the MAGAs versus the Swifties. That's the issue I want to talk about. And I got to find some of these people, these kooks, talking about. These are Looney Tunes, okay? What they're saying about Taylor Swift, and I'm like the most minuscule Swiftie there is. I think she's a very talented artist. I think her taking all these private planes to every football game is really speeding up global warming. So Taylor, you know, thumbs down. But man, can she write a fucking song, huh? Um, So I wouldn't say I'm really either side too much, but the fact that these two armies, this is like the new civil war in America, or that's what at least what the news would make you think. The maggots versus the Swifties, and they are ready to go at it. I mean, you could feel the tension. You could cut it with a knife because it's about to pop off if one of these generals says something to another. And their little armies are ready to go. This is so sad. There's important stuff I want to talk about that. So if my friend AB is here, I would love to get her uh, younger millennial opinion, and I'll give you mine because there were some weird and awful questions. People, or not questions, but people were telling Taylor Swift some pretty rude stuff, like outside of the form of entertainment. They were saying some very un-American things to her, and I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Thanks for watching the live stream. I don't know how to hang this up. Oh yeah, and go follow my man Luigi. He's down in the comments. Luigi OG. If you speak Portuguese and you play Grand Theft Auto, yo, that is the channel for you. No joke. I wish I could follow it along, and I had fun watching his videos. Um, and he's got a big channel, so please go follow my man Luigi. He rips some dope stuff. He's real good at Grand Theft Auto too. All right.